New York Football Giants on the road at the Seattle Seahawks. An afternoon game here for the Giants. They find themselves as 3-point road underdogs. 44.5 is your total. I'm on the New York Football Giants this week. I don't give a damn what the rest of the world has to say. This is a prove it game for both of these teams for sure. I mean, I am fully aware that this is a game in which it's two teams that have overperformed, and one of these teams is going to get exposed, in my opinion. I just think that team's going to be the Seattle Seahawks. And if you take a look here, they're going to be without DK Metcalf, it looks like. At the very least, he would play in a very, very compromised position, which we know wide receivers, when you go out there this hurt, you get re-injured, they come back out of the game. It's probably best to hold him out as it is anyway. The Giants blitz like hell, and highest rate in the league. Geno Smith has been great so far this year. He has not against the blitz. He is the 22nd graded quarterback against the blitz. He's 17th graded against pressure. Now, that's not bottom of the barrel, but it's not this Geno Smith statistic that everybody wants to keep pulling out. He's one of the highest rated quarterbacks in the NFL. He's one of the most efficient passers in the NFL. Well, yeah, he is when he sits in a clean pocket, not when he's pressured, not when he's blitzed. And we know for sure that is exactly what this Giants defense is going to do early and often. Saquon Barkley has been an absolute beast so far this season, going up against a horrible defense. He leads the league in scrimmage yards. He leads this team in targets, receptions, all that. This to me is a spot in which you're giving me a field goal I think the Giants are the better team. Like, I think they are the better team than the Seattle Seahawks. And so give me the field goal all day long. I'll take the 3. I'll stick it in my pocket. I'm going to wait to get Adam's response here. I'll start with you, Steven. What do you see here, Giants and Seahawks?
If DK is not playing, then yeah, I would be all over Giants +3. Follow me here for a second defensively, because there's a really interesting matchup situation here with the quarterbacks. With Seattle's defense played near a league high rate in zone defense the first 3 weeks of the season, and then they went to near league high rates in man coverage for weeks 4 and 5 and proceeded to get gashed by the Lions and the Saints offenses. They immediately switched back to playing less than 20% man coverage against Arizona and the Chargers, and they played really well. They held Kyler and Justin Herbert to less than 5 yards per play. The problem is Daniel Jones loves zone defense. He is top 5 in completion percentage and passer rating against zone defenses and bottom 3 versus man. So if Seattle keeps doing what they've done well this year, it's a bad matchup against Daniel Jones, and I'm sure Brian Dable sees that as well. Now, on the flip side, the Giants defense, you mentioned the blitzing. That also means they play the most the most man coverage in the NFL, more than 51% this season, but it's actually gone over 60% each of the past 2 weeks. Geno Smith is number 5 in completion percentage, number 6 in passer rating against man defenses, and much worse against zone. But here's the problem. A lot of it is DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf is number 3 in the NFL when he's targeted against man coverage. Tyler Lockett is in the 40s when targeted against man coverage. If they don't have DK Metcalf, that is a big deal for this offense, especially against the Giants defense. So that's why I'm leaning Giants +3 here.
Adam, weeks 4, 5, 6, and 7. You know, this win streak that's so fake for this New York Giant football team. Daniel Jones, number 2 in the NFL in EPA plus CPOE composite. He has an adjusted EPA higher than that of Joe Burrow. We know how good he has been over the last 4 weeks. He has a higher EPA than Geno Smith, than even Joe Burrow, than some of these other quarterbacks that have been on a super hot streak. Has a higher success rate than Patrick Mahomes. It is time to give the man his due. He's playing good football. Whether you think he is the future of this team or not, that's irrelevant. We're talking about today, this week, this game, and how he's playing right now. And Daniel Jones is playing at a very high level for an NFL quarterback.
Daniel Jones is being put in a position to succeed, and that has been the question for Daniel Jones throughout his young career, is when was he going to be put in a position to take advantage of his talents? Who's running the ball really well for the Giants this year? Sure. You want to talk about Saquon Barkley?
Daniel
that's fine.
Jones.
Daniel Jones is running the ball really well for the Giants this year, and making him a running threat makes him a better quarterback, right? You talk about anything you want to talk about when it comes to man versus zone. You can't play as much man versus Daniel Jones when he runs the ball. That's the simple part of this in the end, is that you have to play more zone against the Giants when Daniel Jones is a running threat. So look at the last few weeks. You mentioned this winning streak. Okay. Chicago, Green Bay, Baltimore, Jacksonville. Okay, we don't look at that Green Bay win as good now, but we still look at this Giants team and say the last 3 weeks, they have been dogs and they have won outright. And so if you're going to be on either side of this game, I think you're going to be on the Giants side from a handicapping perspective, because I don't think there is a lot of daylight between Seattle and the Giants. And I think when you look at these two teams, I make it a pick on the Seattle field. I make it where the Giants getting 3 points, I don't think it's the side of the week for me, but if I'm going to be on either side, it's going to be that, because once again, the New York Giants have found a way to keep games close, and that's kind of what Brian Daboll's plan is for this team. Look at what they're doing. The whole idea for the Giants is to minimize variance, right? They want to take away the plays where Daniel Jones has to make a lot of big decisions, right? They gamble on defense with the blitz, but it's because they know that they're going to create enough situations behind the sticks that this defense doesn't have to be out there all the time. So when it comes down to it in this game, the prove it for me is more prove it on the Seattle side. Prove to me that this defense can hold up, right? Because we were talking about this defense as historically bad through their first 5 games. Then they held down a bad Cardinals offense, and all of a sudden we're like, well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe our handicap on Seattle was wrong. No, this defense is still giving up almost 27 points per game. So I think, to me, I need to see Seattle prove this in this spot, with or without DK Metcalf, for me to believe that they're anything other than a good offense, bad defense team.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, I think the Giants are just a better football team. And the fact that I'm getting a full field goal here, I thought was a gift. I love this bet in the account, and it'll be in my contest plays, everything across the board here. Daniel Jones has been good. You just got to give it up.